So, but his three marks of existence is impermanence, suffering, and the non-self, the non-Ant-Man. First thing is everything is impermanent. Nietzsche. Things are constantly changing all the time. We have some beautiful horses here that were mighty stallions, but they get old, they get sick, and they die. All the animals here, we're fairly likely going to see them die before I... well, I mean, we will. We're going to outlive all these horses and ponies. And then, of course, we have now, I think, 6 new horses from Hungary, so out with the old, in with the new. That's just the way things are. Everything is a flux of change. Farm, emotions, thoughts, physical body. So, it's a challenge. Find something that's a part of you that does not change. Body obviously changes. Cells grow old and die, or we replace our body completely every 7 years. We're definitely physically not the same as where we were born. We're definitely not physically the same when we die, so that's pretty obvious. Emotions are quite obvious. People often say I'm happy, I'm sad, but these are obviously false statements to make, because you can't possibly be happy if the next minute you're sad or the next day you're sad. These are just things that we experience. They are not us themselves, and they are definitely at a flux of changing. Our thoughts, we might be, we can be a socialist when we're younger, a conservative when we're a little bit older, and then and then a libertarian when we have more sense. And so what is it that remains to not change? So this clinging, this idea that something is possibly permanent, this causes suffering. So this is the second mark of his existence, dukkha. That by clinging on to an idea that is going to change shape at some point, some kind of form, that will cause suffering. She was women who were very resistant to the idea that they will grow hair also suffer. Women who put a lot of effort into looking beautiful in the morning, and then obviously that changes throughout the day as their mask slips. They're going to suffer. Clinging on to happiness is going to lead to suffering. There are things in this life that are most enjoyable, like the illusion of love. It's a very enjoyable part of the illusion. Yes, being obsessed with love kind of sets you up from being bit in the ass by a donkey. Exactly what love is like. You love donkeys and then they bite you in the ass. So on and so forth. And then we get to the last... It's just a donkey just sneezing in my face. So the last one is that there is no Atman. Atman we translate to be the self, or in Western philosophy we might call the soul. There is no essence. Nothing has its own particular essence that is uniquely it, that is not made of other things. There is no you. If you understand that saying, I did this, you did that, France is over here, Italy's over there, China did that, Russia's slowly taking over the world. These are all just expressions. None of these things are actually real. Again, we can challenge this, that as our science progresses, we begin to divide the physical world up into more and more smaller parts, going... There was atoms, so wait, now there's elements then replaced by quarks, and realize they're really just patterns in space. And so when we look at things like tables, apples, oranges, these are just words we put on top of the physical universe. We're just recognizing patterns. We understand that those patterns are an expression. They represent something that's there, but they don't literally exist. We don't literally exist on our own as a thing. We individuals, human beings, are just a different part of the same whole. So, if you disagree with that, find the part of you that is different from everything else. What is it? People say, oh, it's the soul, it's the heart. I call BS in that, but pursue it. Pursue it. Find the thing that makes you separate from everything else. When I was in Turkey, I was sitting and meditating and listening to Sufi music, very intense prayer music, best music in the world. And I sat down, I was meditating, and I was trying to find the part of where I began and the music started. Now, music, not only music itself is an illusion our mind creates. It's just our mind reacting to frequencies. Oh, two ponies having a fight over there. So maybe not too long ago, 120 years ago, people thought that music traveled through a medium, or there was something that was sound. But actually, what we discovered is that sound is just physical space vibrating. So sound itself is empty space shifting through physical matter, or physical matter vibrating in empty space. So there is actually no thing that is music or sound. So in order to hear music, something has to be vibrating. So when we hear music, our bodies are vibrating. So that music, so when we're listening to music, we are actually listening to ourselves vibrate. So when you're sitting down and you're listening to music, at that moment in time, our bodies are reacting to the music. The musician is reacting to the music. So the person listening to the music, and the producer of the music are physically the one thing at the same time. That is, go out and experiment with it. It's a fact. The listener, the listening, the listened to, the one producing the sound are all the one thing. And so the idea of me and I'm listening something is just an expression of words. It's created. It's a byproduct of, it's illusion. It's created by the process, which is totally fine because it makes sense. It makes sense to temporarily believe that we are a separate entity, so we can go around and achieve tasks. Like, we have labels on all these horses, and just so, because like the different animals, they take different food and they take different medicine, they take different vitamins. Ponies don't get fed the same as horses and donkeys. The different goats don't get fed the same. Some get corn, some don't get corn. And so we use these labels, the concept of separation, just to manage the physical world in a more efficient way. And once we understand that when we say this existence, we're talking about our perception of existence is completely illusionary, it makes it just a lot easier. So that's what the Buddha is talking about. Everything in our experience, in our perception, is temporary, clinging on to cause of suffering, and ultimately nothing exists on its own side. Everything is a part of the whole. Even with the existence of multi-universes, multi-dimensional universes still exist in the same physical plane that we can explore. So this clinging that we have onto ourselves, the obsession with ourselves causes suffering, because we believe that we are a solitary, separate unit that will last forever, and it's not true. What we call our physical bodies will eventually disintegrate and die. And not going to tell you what happens when we die. That's a surprise. Shh.